Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. It is the live game preview ahead of our Premier League fixture against Sheffield United away from home tomorrow evening. 6 PM kick-off, the penultimate Premier League game of the season. Jesus Christ, it feels like this season has gone on for absolute years. Ever since, of course, the start of the season. Sheffield United, one of the first teams that we played, beat us 2-0 at Goodison Park, and it is, of course, the last away game of the 2019-20 season tomorrow against them. Look, it's not a great time to play Sheffield United, is it? Let's be perfectly honest. They've had an absolutely fantastic season. If you'd have told me when they'd have beaten us 2-0 at Goodison Park all of those months back that Sheffield United were going to be fighting for a position in the Europa League and unfortunate to miss out on the Champions League, you know, towards the back end of the season in the last couple of games when you next meet, I'd have laughed and said, you're having a laugh, aren't you? That's never going to happen. But here we are. We sit here, Everton aside, currently sitting in mid-table. I think due to the results today and yesterday, I think we can now mathematically not finish in the top half of the Premier League table, and I think we're on course for it to be one of our worst finishes for quite some time. Now, of course, you know, that has a lot to do with, you know, the previous form under the previous manager. That's not much to do with Carlo Ancelotti. But we face a really, really good Sheffield United team tomorrow. A Sheffield United team who are in not only decent form, but have had a really, really good season so far. You know, Chris Wilder has got the lads playing absolutely fantastically. They've got a real team spirit. They all fight for each other. They all battle for each other, you know, and even if they turn up and they think, right, okay, we might not be, you know, man for man better than the side that we're playing, we're going to fight and we're going to keep them on their toes and we're going to get at them and we're going to pressure them and we're going to make sure that even if they've got more quality than us, we'll want it more. And Chris Wilder's been very, very open and honest with this Sheffield United side. He was massively open and honest after they lost to Leicester a few days ago, and he come out and he said that there was too many players that just felt, you know, he felt like they weren't care, they didn't care. He felt like they had their slippers on a little bit and they were just looking forward to the end of the season. He said that's not good enough. He had to remind them, look, you're still Championship, you know, League One players playing in the Premier League. You can't just turn up and waltz around as if you're the best thing since sliced bread. You have to work, you have to, you know, get your head in the game and you have to perform, and that wasn't good enough. And this is, of course, their bounce back game from that defeat. And if, you know, if Chris Wilder's conversation in his interviews after the game is anything to go by, I'm sure that he'll have told the Sheffield United players after that Leicester game that it was nowhere near good enough, and that they need to massively improve. And lo and behold, they're stepping up against an Everton side who were giving points to any team left, right and centre, really, aren't we? Everton coming off the back of a really, really disappointing 1-1 draw against Aston Villa a couple of days ago, of course, on Thursday. Again, it was dreadful, wasn't it? It was absolutely dreadful at Goodison Park, you know, to turn up and to, again, I know we're not in great form, and I know Aston Villa, of course, are fighting for their lives and fighting to try and survive and to stay in the Premier League. You know, we just didn't really look interested again. You know, we got the points due to a goal from Theo Walcott in the last 5 or 10 minutes, and other than that, you know, Aston Villa could have had an opportunity to go 2-0 up shortly after they scored the first, and that would have truly been game over. So another dreadful performance by Everton. We spoke about that performance, of course, on Friday night, and we go into this Sheffield United game now not looking brilliant, of course. Listen, again, like I said, I think we can only finish 11th at best now this season, and that's if obviously the other results go our way as well. I think Southampton will have to lose their remaining game of the season. Sheffield United currently 8th in the Premier League, 14 wins, 12 draws and 10 losses, only 2 points away from 6th as well, so they're very, very close to finishing in that Europa League position, which, like I said, for a newly promoted side, a side that is built on a lot of players that you might not necessarily have known before this season. We had obviously John Lundstrom, who we know played for Everton, grew up in the Everton Academy. Dean Henderson on loan from Manchester United had an absolutely fantastic season. Ollie McBurney's had a brilliant season as well. So, you know, these Sheffield United players aren't superstars. They aren't world-class talents that everybody knows and everybody knew before they come into the Premier League. They're a side that are built purely and largely on their effort and their togetherness and their team spirit and their fight and their energy and their willingness to not only play for each other but also to play for the manager. I think there's a big team spirit within Sheffield United, and that's something that Everton ourselves have struggled with this season on numerous occasions, and certainly over the last couple of weeks or so. since that defeat to Spurs, or since that second half against Leicester, Everton have struggled to really turn up and show that fight and show that spirit that's needed to get you through certain games. We would have shown half the fight that a Sheffield United show against Spurs. Would have beat Spurs against Wolves. We mightn't have beaten them, but would have made a better account of ourselves. Would have beaten Aston Villa. Would have beaten Southampton. So, again, it's going to be difficult tomorrow. It's a massive game for Sheffield United. They really have to win if they want to continue their aspirations of finishing in that Europa League position, which will be their aspiration, to come into the Premier League, to spend one season in the Premier League and then finish in a Europa League position for the following season is a fantastic achievement for Chris Wilder and those players. Like I said, I've got a really good squad. For Everton, there's not much riding on the game again other than pure pride, and I'm a bit worried going into this game from an Everton point of view, because like I said, I spoke about the Aston Villa game a couple of days ago and I said I wasn't really disappointed, I wasn't really frustrated, I wasn't annoyed, I was just bored watching Everton. And Everton turned up against the side that are currently 19th in the Premier League, not kept an away clean sheet all season, barely won an away game all season, and we turned up and we were just waltzing around the pitch looking like we weren't harsh. We barely took a point out of the game due to a literally a last minute header from Theo Walcott, who come on as a substitute. The strikers who started the game, Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison, didn't look great whatsoever. The midfield was absolutely absent again. And you look at this game and you think, if we turn up and we put a similar performance in as to the one against Aston Villa tomorrow, I can only see one result, and I'm sorry to be negative, but I can only see Sheffield United turning around and absolutely handing our asses to us, and that's of course not what we want to see. I want to see Everton turn up, and even though we've got nothing to fight for, I said it before the Aston Villa game, I'm not really arsed whether Aston Villa are on the brink of being relegated or whether Aston Villa needed to win that game in order to stay up. I'm also not really arsed that Sheffield United, I don't mind Sheffield United, I quite like them, but I'm also not really arsed that they're on the brink of a European position, or that they could potentially not finish in a Europa League position if we beat them. I'm asked about Everton, again, far too many times. Now, I think Jamie Carragher said it at some point. It wasn't Jordan an Everton game, it was Jordan commentary on another game. He said something like, Sheffield United to go into Everton, which will be brilliant for them because Everton are giving points away left, right and centre to sides at the moment that need them, and it's true. We give a point away unnecessarily to Aston Villa. We give a point away to Southampton, who are in and around our position in the league. We give 3 points, an easy 3 points to a Tottenham side that didn't deserve it and that didn't have a great game. Are we going to turn up tomorrow and give an easy 3 points to Sheffield United and say, go on, you're fighting for the European position, we're not, so you may as well have the win, and then, good luck and see where you finish? No, fuck that, right off, let's turn up, let's actually make a good account of ourselves, and let's put a performance in, because I don't think I can watch another 90 minutes of Everton just being lackadaisical and shite passes left, right and centre, and players not looking interested, and the midfield being dreadful, and I can't watch another 90 minutes like the game a week ago today against Wolves, where we just got turned over left, right and centre. I can't do it, so I'm hoping for a bounce back from Everton, because it is a bounce back. I'm not taking that performance or that result against Aston Villa as a positive, because we should have been beating them. They're a side, like I said, that have struggled massively this season, but not only have struggled massively this season, they've struggled massively away from home, and we should have turned up and we should have beaten them, regardless of their situation, regardless of the fact that we've got not much to play for whatsoever. We should have turned up and we should have beaten them, and we didn't, because we didn't look interested, and again, we just didn't look like we were arsed. We have to turn up tomorrow and we have to look like we're arsed, because we can't afford to, we can't afford ultimately to go out there and walk around the pitch and waltz around the pitch as if we've got nothing better to do, because again, yes, we've got 2 games to go, and yes, we play a good Sheffield United side tomorrow, and then we play a Bournemouth side who may or may not have been relegated by that point. I think Everton actually got the opportunity to relegate Bournemouth, which probably means that they won't get relegated next week. But we spoke massively since the resumption of football, and since the return of the Premier League, about how vitally important it is for Everton to finish the season strongly. And whenever the Europa League conversation sort of crept in, obviously after we beat Norwich and after we beat Leicester, the Europa League conversation crept in a little bit, and I was a bit hesitant to talk about it, because I felt like, if we could have finished in the Europa League this season, it wouldn't have been a massive achievement. It would have been a miracle for Carlo Ancelotti, considering the side that he took over, and considering these are the same players that are letting managers down week in, week out, that let Marco Silva down. And I'm not saying Marco Silva is escapes criticism because he wasn't good enough as a manager. But we've seen since that Tottenham game, and again, like I said, since that second half against Leicester, we've seen the type of performances that we've become accustomed to with this Everton squad. That, the boring, not good enough, passing's not sharp enough, not creating anything going forward. And we're just basically, exactly like Jamie Carragher said, whether you like him or not, we're just offering points out to teams left, right and centre. And we can't afford to do that tomorrow. Carlo Ancelotti did have his pre-game press conference yesterday on a Saturday afternoon, which was a little bit strange prior to this game. He come out with a couple of updates. He said that Mason Holgate, Yerry Mina and Fabian Delph will all miss the remaining 2 fixtures of the season. So we will not see Mason Holgate or Yerry Mina for tomorrow's game or the game against Bournemouth for that matter. A little bit less important with Fabian Delph because he's done fuck all season and he ain't good enough to be in the side anyway. Carlo Ancelotti also talked about Moise Kean. He said that Moise Kean starting is a possibility. He will be our player next year for sure. He spoke about how important it was for Moise Kean to have a season where he settled into the Premier League and that the expectation wasn't too high. I think Evertonians, maybe including myself, maybe were a little bit guilty of expecting far too much from Moise Kean this season. But I would really like Moise Kean to start the remaining 2 games of the season because, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, again, I love Dominic Calvert-Lewin and I'm not going to sit here and write him off and I'm not going to sit here and criticise him massively, but, he hasn't had a great resumption to the Premier League. Obviously he hasn't scored, which is difficult for him, but also not only that, yes, I understand he hasn't had a lot of creativity, he hasn't had a lot of opportunities, but the times that he has had those clear opportunities where you really have to snap at them and do better and score, he hasn't. Obviously the big one being against Aston Villa a few days ago when the ball come into the box, fantastic ball in by Andre Gomez, and he misses it. And ultimately, like I said, again, I'm happy to sit here and back Dominic Calvert-Lewin up when talking about the lack of creativity and when talking about how good his work rate is. But when he has chances like that, you really have to be taking them. And if he's not taking them, then it's not good enough because we don't get many opportunities, so we can't afford to just put them wide and to not utilise them. So I really want to see the likes of Moise Kean starting. Obviously, the loss in Mason Holgate and Yerry Mina means that Jarrad Branthwaite is likely to start this game tomorrow, which for me is a massive bonus. Even if Mason Holgate and Yerry Mina were fit for tomorrow's game, I'd still want Jarrad Branthwaite to start it. I thought he was absolutely fantastic against Aston Villa, the best player in an Everton shirt by a country mile for me. Stepped in, really difficult task to do, to step in, against the side that were fighting relegation, and obviously after his little bit of a baptism of fire against Wolves where he gave away the free kick and then ultimately didn't sack his man, but he stepped in and he was man of the match for me the other day. He was absolutely fantastic. Everything that he was asked to do, he done perfectly well. Every ball that come into the box, he dealt with. Every opportunity, he had to clear the ball, he did. His footwork was good. His passing was good as well. So for me, I'd be wanting Jarrad Branthwaite to start this game anyway, regardless of the fitness of Mason Holgate and Yerry Mina. But now that we know both of those players are out and will not play again this season, it's pretty much guaranteed that Jarrad Branthwaite will start. So we will get into my predicted starting 11 then, and then we'll go into the live comments before we talk a little bit more about this game. If you're enjoying the stream, by the way, so far, please do hit that like button. Stream on a Sunday as well, which is unusual. I had a little bit of a busy weekend, which is why we didn't do a stream on Friday. Obviously we done the review on Friday or yesterday. Again, I just want to say a massive thank you for 2,000 subscribers. I mentioned it in the video on Friday, the review to the game against Aston Villa, but I just want to mention it again today. Live streams have been a massive thing for our channel and something that I absolutely love doing every single week. I love getting involved in the live comments. I love, talking to you, because it's not just it's not my channel. This is an Everton fan channel. It's a channel for fans, and I'm not the only Everton fan on the planet. Just looking at the live comments, I can see Everton TV, Eugene, Jeff Thompson, Wormy, Everton FC is the best, Reece, James, a whole load of people, as well as everybody else that we'll talk about when we go through the live comments, who are constantly, getting involved and taking time out of their day to watch me talk about Everton. So this channel is for everybody, so a massive thank you for 2,000 subscribers. I really do appreciate it. Anyway, getting into my predicted starting 11 then, before we do dive into the live comments. I've gone for Jordan Pickford in goal. Obviously there was a lot of discussion as to whether or not Jordan Pickford should play the remaining sort of 3 games of the season, certainly after his performance against Wolves, certainly after the little smarky smile and pulling the tongues out when he made a mistake. He started against Aston Villa. He didn't really put a foot wrong, did he? Let's be perfectly honest with ourselves. He didn't put a foot wrong. He didn't have an awful lot to do anyway. It's not like he was being bombarded left, right and centre with shots. But regardless of that, like I said, he didn't make any clear-cut mistakes. The dive for the goal was a little bit strange. I think he almost seemed like he just wanted to dive to make it look like he was doing something, but ultimately the goal wasn't really his fault. And like I said, he starts again. You know, Carlo Ancelotti's come out over the last week or so and spoke about Jordan Pickford and spoke about how he needs to improve and how he needs to understand that his mistakes aren't, you know, acceptable and he can't be doing that week in, week out. But he also said that everybody at the club backs him and that he thinks he'll start the remaining few games of the season. So Jordan Pickford starting goal. I've gone for a back four of Luca Dean, Michael Kean, Jared Branthwaite and Seamus Coleman, both fullbacks keeping their position. Then again, Luca Dean, probably one of our shining stars in the last sort of 3 games, even the games where, you know, we've struggled in the game against Wolves, the game against Aston Villa, even the game against Spurs. Luca Dean's looked like one of the only players in an Everton shirt, certainly one of the only players consistently in an Everton shirt that's putting in decent performances. He's getting forward, he's trying to create something. Obviously the ball for the assist for the goal against Southampton, Richarlison's goal, was absolutely fantastic, and I think he's had an average season, Luca Dean, compared to his season last season, which was absolutely fantastic. But I think, you know, again, like I said, in regards to the team and the entirety of the team and the performances all round, I think Luca Dean's been pretty consistent in his performances since the restart of the Premier League, and I thought he was decent again the other day against Aston Villa. On the right hand side, then I've gone for Seamus Coleman. There's rumours today coming out of Foot Mercato, who I believe are a Italian publication, maybe a French publication, I think they are actually, and they are stating that Everton will not take up the chance to purchase Djibril Sidibe from Monaco. Everton apparently wanted another loan move, but Monaco weren't happy to give another loan move, and Everton will now look at other options for understudies to Seamus Coleman. So I'm not too sure we'll see Djibril Sidibe start another game for Everton this season. He's only got 2 games left on his loan contract, of course, and if Everton aren't looking to purchase him on a permanent deal or to renew that loan because of whatever reason Monaco don't want to do it, then I can't see the point of him playing or at least starting Premier League games. Maybe coming off the bench as a little bit of an impact player, but I just can't see the point in him starting. So I've gone for Seamus Coleman on the other side. Seamus, again, listen, he you know, he's nowhere near the player he was, and he doesn't get forward anywhere near as much as as we would like him to. But you know, you have to understand that the lad's had a lot of injuries, he's had a lot of fitness issues in his career. But again, defensively, he hasn't really put a foot wrong since the restart of the Premier League. He hasn't made any massive individual errors, massive individual mistakes. So Seamus starts for me. Into the centre of the defence, then Jared Branthwaite and Michael Kean start. Like I said, not many options here for Carlo Ancelotti, with Mason Holgate and Yerry Mina being ruled out for the remainder of the Premier League campaign. I know it's only 2 games, but I thought Jared Branthwaite was absolutely fantastic, like I mentioned briefly before, against Aston Villa. My man of the match by quite some distance. Luca Dean probably was the only player that comes slightly close to him, but you know, Branthwaite coming on obviously just before half time, having a massive task to step into Mason Holgate's boots. Even for the brief, you know, 25-30 minutes that Mason Holgate was on the pitch, he looked really good. He looked confident. He used his confidence on the ball. He was bringing us forward. He was good with the ball at his feet. He was moving it out, and Jared Branthwaite had to come in and sort of replace that, and it was very tough for him to do that, but he done it fantastically. Like I said, really strong. Took a couple of knocks as well and got back up and had another go and kept himself going. And for a 17-year-old lad who 6 months ago was playing, you know, 4th, 5th division English football and was like the 5th, 4th choice at Carlisle, you know, he's done fantastically well to not only be playing Premier League games, but also to have come into Everton, being given a contract extension already, and as well as that, to, like I said, to have stepped in and played absolutely fantastically in a tough game for Everton. He looked like a shining star in that game, and it's, you know, again, it's fantastic for Jared Branthwaite. It's slightly embarrassing that a 17-year-old kid stepping into the team and fitting in and looking like he's not out of place. That really does show that your senior players like your Tom Davises, your Andre Gomez, your Gylfi Sigurdssons, you know, they're just not good enough. But there you go. So Jared Branthwaite starts, like I said, fantastic performance against Aston Villa. Really good performance. And then Michael Kean next to him. Thought Michael Kean, I think he's restarted the Premier League really well. He's tailed off a little bit. He started to lose his position a little bit more, but I kind of put that to the fact that he's been playing next to different centre-back partners. Obviously, Yerry Mina's had his fair share of injuries. Mason Holgate's been picking up injuries as well. I think Michael Keane's been the most consistent, certainly performance-wise. And again, he hasn't really put a foot wrong since the return of the Premier League. You know, he scored that own goal against Tottenham, but I can't really put that to his fault whatsoever. It was really unlucky, and it was difficult to to avoid that. So Michael Kean starts next to Jared Branthwaite then, and Luca Dean at left back, and Seamus Coleman at right back. Before we go into the midfield, the Blue Boys Network, it's Mike, I believe it is, has donated another £2 to the stream. Thank you very much, Mike. Really, really do appreciate it. You also make sure you've all pressed the like button and keep it up. Yeah, if you could hit that like button, it mean a massive, massive amount to me. Really, really do appreciate all of the support. We'll get into the midfield then, and then we'll go to the front four, and then we will get into the live comments. Going into the midfield then, centre midfields, I've gone for Benny Beningame and Andre Gomez. I haven't changed them from the two centre midfielders that I wanted to play in the game against Aston Villa. I really don't want to see Tom Davies starting this game. I really don't want to see Gylfi Sigurdsson starting this game. In fact, I don't really want to see Andre Gomez starting it, to be perfectly honest. I think he's been quite poor since the restart of the Premier League, and I know he's obviously still suffering or still trying to shake off his injury. Or return to fitness and definitely to the level that he was prior to that injury. But regardless of that, he hasn't been good enough. And for me, listen, he needs to massively improve if he's going to have a part in this Everton team going forward. He really, really does. Benny Beningame next to him. I'll keep saying Benny Beningame's game until he gets an opportunity, because I honestly don't see how he can be any worse than whether it be Andre Gomez, whether it be Tom Davies, whether it be Gylfi Sigurdsson. I can't see how Benny Beningame can be any worse than those players. So I'll keep mentioning his name, and he should be in the team. Carlo Ancelotti spoke about squad rotation and giving different players a go. He spoke about Moise Kean and starting him, and how that is a possibility. So for me, why not give Benny Beningame a go? Throw him in there. What have you got to lose? We've got 2 games to go. We're playing against the side in Sheffield United. We've got a lot of energy in that midfield, a lot of urgency, a lot of togetherness, a lot of fight. Playing Gylfi Sigurdsson, Tom Davies, Andre Gomez, you're only going to get one thing, and that's overrun in that midfield. And if we get overrun tomorrow, we're in shit street. So going on to the 2 wings, then I've gone for Anthony Gordon on one side and Theo Walcott on the other. I just think Anthony Gordon deserves another start. Obviously, didn't start the game against Aston Villa for whatever reason. Come on as a substitute. Couldn't really do much and didn't really do much, but I don't put that down to him. I put that down again to the lack of creativity within the team, and the fact that he just didn't really get any opportunities to get the ball down and really make the most of it. I've gone for Theo Walcott on the other side, purely because Theo come on off the bench. Obviously, he spent a lot of the since the restart of the Premier League, he spent a lot of time injured. Come off the bench against Aston Villa. Not only did he score the goal that ultimately kept us in the game, but he also put one really, really good ball across the box. And I thought he looked decent, to be honest. And look, Theo Walcott's probably a player that looks better when he's coming off the bench and when he's able to impact games, and when his energy and his pace is able to break teams down when they're tired. But again, do we have many other options? Iwobi was dreadful against Villa. Same with Bernard. Both started well, but within 10 or 15 minutes, they were just absolutely absent. So personally, I'd go with Theo Walcott. Like I said, a good goal the other day, and overall a good performance off the bench. So put Theo in there with Anthony Gordon on the other side. And then 2 strikers have gone for Richarlison and Moise Kean. Giving Dominic Calvert-Lewin a little bit of a rest for this game. I think he needs a little bit of a rest, to be honest. He's struggled since the restart of the Premier League. He's obviously played, started every single game with Richarlison up top since the restart. And look, you can't fault Dominic Calvert-Lewin's work rate. You can't fault his passion, and you can't fault his willingness to improve. But ultimately, the one thing you can fault is his ruthlessness in front of goal, and his ability to turn that one chance that he might get in a game, that half chance, into a goal. Something that we've seen Richarlison do a number of times over the season, and specifically in that Southampton game. We just don't see enough from Dominic Calvert-Lewin of turning those half opportunities that you may only get one opportunity or even a half an opportunity a game. You need to turn those into goals, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin just struggles to do that. I think, obviously, like I said, Carlo Ancelotti's spoken about Moise Kean and the possibility of him starting, so I think we may see Moise Kean start. I can't see why Carlo Ancelotti would say, Moise Kean is a potential, could potentially start, and speak so highly of him in the pre-game press conference if he wasn't going to start him. So there you go, Richarlison and Moise Kean up front. That's my predicted starting 11. Let me know your thoughts on it in the comments section down below. Leave me your predicted starting 11s as well. Let's get into the live comments now before we go on to talk about the game a little bit further. Everton TV says, "Hi Cam, how are you doing today, mate? I'm not too bad." Eugene says, "Everton need to play a 4-4-2 formation tomorrow night." Well, we probably will, because ultimately that's the formation we've played a lot under Carlo Ancelotti, and we haven't got three fit centre-backs to play a sort of 5 at the back or 3 at the back or whatever you'd want to call that formation. Jeff says, Eugene, I honestly don't think we've got much choice. Only 2 fit centre-backs and not enough good players for a 2-man midfield, let alone a 3. Exactly, spot on. Wim says, hi everybody. He should probably do okay there. In regards to Cenk Tosun potentially going back to Turkey. Wim also says, what are we talking about today? Surely not the game. We know what's going to happen. But yeah, listen, it's the game preview. Sorry about that, mate. We will be talking about transfers next week. Obviously, we'll have the instant match reaction and the player ratings tomorrow after the game. We'll have the live game review on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, we're going to be talking about transfers. We're going to be talking about Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, as well as various other players that have been linked with moves to Everton. Everton FC is the best, says, hey mate, hi mate, hope you're doing well. Reese says, afternoon everybody. Jeff says, alright everyone, alright mate. James says, I hope the transfer window has talent in it, Cam. I want to see Everton next season without at least 8 first-team players, and early buys are crucial. Yeah, hopefully mate, hopefully. Ewan says, I got the new Everton kit. It came on Friday afternoon and the top is very nice. Yeah, I went to the shop, the Everton shop in town on yesterday afternoon. I picked up the home top as well as the navy and pink training top and shorts as well. Really lovely gear, really lovely gear. Hernandez says, what a great surprise for the live team on the weekend. All the best, mate. Thank you very much. All the best to you as well. David says, Benny won't get anywhere near, hasn't had a minute, so Carlo obviously doesn't like. Well, that again, that's the worry, isn't it? Carlo Ancelotti obviously isn't seeing enough from Benny Whittingham in training, and he obviously isn't seeing enough in Finch Farm to give him an opportunity or to deem him, good enough for an opportunity, which is worrying considering how poor the rest of our midfield is. But there you go. Philip says, hey everybody, what's your thoughts on the new ground? Can't wait for it, mate. The sooner the merrier, but we need to fix the team first. Jeff says, I'm honestly beyond caring about this season. It's just nice to see Branthwaite and Gordon again, and hopefully Kean gets a start as well. I agree. I'm the same, Jeff. Obviously we do the previews and the reviews, and we'll talk about every game because, that's what we do. But I'm pretty much the same, mate. I'm bored. I'm bored of this season now. I'm bored of watching Everton, put in the same shite performances week in, week out. We have lost it then. Eugene says, Ancelotti board. The board will back Ancelotti, hopefully, mate. Wim says, wouldn't expect too much from Kean if he does start with our midfield. I imagine Tom and Gomez will start, which doesn't bode well for the front men. Yeah, listen, if Tom Davies starts this game tomorrow, I will be quite annoyed because he hasn't shown anything in the last 3 or 4 games to tell me that he deserves a start or that he's got the ability to start a Premier League game for Everton. So if he does start, I'll be quite annoyed. Hernandez says, how do you feel about the club coming out saying that the transfer targets are the centre-back, a centre midfielder, right wing, and hopefully they said, I was hoping they said 2 to 3 centre midfielders, hopefully we back Ancelotti in the transfer market. I think they're coming out and saying we need a lot of players in a lot of positions, which is true. I mean, if they've just come out and said we need a load of centre midfielders, then some people might say, what about centre back? What about right wing? So I don't think it means we're only going to be in for 1 centre midfielder. That could mean 2 or 3 centre midfielders. It just means as well as the other positions as well. Sonny, we're going to talk about transfers next week. We're going to bring up some names as well. Jeff says, does team lacks one leader more than anything else, a proper leader? Luke says, we need Allen and Højbjerg to even compete next season, in my opinion. Fair enough. Philip says he'll walk if they don't back him. Sonny says, completely agree, Jeff and Luke. Wim says, Lozano on loan. Allen, Weston, McKennie, Mings if they get real about the price. Kay Havertz. Imagine we sign Kay Havertz, mate. I would absolutely love that. And Luke says, only go for Mings if they lower the price. They want 30 million or something stupid. They do, but if they get relegated, then they're probably after going to settle for what they can get, to be perfectly honest. And Jeff says Mings, I'd swerve that one. Sonny says Gabriel, Højbjerg, Allen, Leon Bailey and a right back. Yes, Luke says don't need a right back. We can just give John Joe Kenny another go. It depends whether he's deemed good enough. He has been good at Schalke, you're right. Jeff says that will be a dream window, Sonny, but can't see it happening. We'll go back into the live comments in just a moment then. Let's get back in to talking about the game briefly. Yeah, listen, it's going to be tough. It's going to be very, very tough tomorrow. Sheffield United are a side in very, very good form. And by form, I don't just mean since the restart of the Premier League. I mean overall, obviously. They had that defeat to Leicester, which was disappointing on their behalf. But they're beating Chelsea comfortably. They're beating Wolves comfortably. Teams that are in and around, in Chelsea's case, fighting for the Champions League. In Wolves' case, they'd see themselves as a quite solidified in that Europa League position and possibly even a team trying to fight for Champions League next season. And Sheffield United have come up and they've beaten sides like that and they've done it quite comfortably. They've got a fantastic unit there. Chris Wilder's got them playing perfectly well, and Everton really, really need to be at the best, at the absolute best of our ability tomorrow if we're going to get anything out of this game. We can't be embarrassed again. We can't be turned over again. We can't turn up and just, think, right, okay, we've only got a couple of games to go. We're not fighting for anything, so we'll just waltz round and we'll just act like we're not really that arsed and we'll see what happens. We can't, because we'll get embarrassed, and I'm not willing to sit through another 90 minutes of watching Everton Football Club get embarrassed. I'm really, really not. It's not good enough, and we've seen far too many performances like that in recent days and weeks and since the restart of the Premier League. So, we need to turn up tomorrow, and if we turn up and we get beat by a better side, then at least we've turned up and putting an effort in and actually showed that we give a fuck. If we don't turn up and we get our asses handed to us, then I really, really won't be impressed with the football club and with the players. And like I said, I think a lot of these players know that the time's up in an Everton shirt anyway, but you'd at least think they'd want to go out with some pride held to the name. But we'll have to wait and see. It's going to be a really, really tough game against a really, really good side. Sonny says we maybe don't even need a centre-back as a Branthwaite emergence. Maybe save money on the defence and put it into the midfield. But let's see how Branthwaite does in the remaining 2 games of the season, which we obviously assume that he will play because of injury issues. And then, I think we shouldn't judge Branthwaite just yet. We should wait until we've seen him consistently in the Premier League before we make that judgment. Luke says Ryan Fraser wouldn't be bad on a free, risky because he's not had a great season, but a needed winger. I wouldn't go anywhere near anyone from Bournemouth, really, to be honest with you. I think they're dreadful. I think they're absolutely dreadful. James says Coleman and Baines need to go. They are past their best, maybe. Luke says can't get rid of them club legends. Sonny says think Baines will either retire or move somewhere else. I think he'll move if he doesn't get guaranteed game time. Jeff says Bernard was free too, Luke. Sometimes free works out to be very expensive. Exactly, wages and all of that sort of stuff you have to remember. Graham says I think they might sell Mina. He's always seems to have small injuries, so inconsistent, trying to make a partnership, maybe, potentially. Luke says he's been linked with a move to Valencia, Mina that is. James says I want Sims to have a chance rather than start with Kean. Again, I don't think Carlo Ancelotti is ready to put somebody like an Ellis Sims in there yet. I think he's sort of preserving him a little bit, at least until next season, just because of his age, and possibly even to look to get him out a move on loan or somewhere like, maybe to Germany like John Joe Kenny or a lower side in the Premier League, or even a high up side in the Championship to give him that experience. Sonny says keep the defence and the strike and sell the whole midfield apart from Gordon and Gomez. I'd honestly, I would listen to offers for Andre Gomez as well, to be perfectly honest with you. Whammy says Walcott, Sigurdsson, Delph, Mina, Bernard, Tosun, Besic, Jesus, Sandro, Tom on load. Reece says I'd only keep DCL, Dean, Branthwaite, Holgate and Gordon. If you're enjoying this stream, by the way, so far, please do hit that like button. Only takes a second. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe as well. Big thanks to everybody for getting involved in the live comments. Luke says for me, I'll pick for the Wobie Davis, maybe Sigurdsson and any of the Deadwood out there. Bring in Stravkosha, Allen and Højbjerg. Be a good window. Blue Boys Network says make sure you hit the like button. Thank you very much. Reese has already done. Jeff says alright, Michael, possibly John. James says sell Davis, Sigurdsson, Coleman, Baines, Bernard, Iwobi and give Sidibe back. I would like to see in our midfield. Danny says when's kickoff? 6 PM tomorrow on Amazon Prime. The game will be. What are we then? Mike says my team: Virginia, Coleman, Kean, Branthwaite, Dean, Benny, Gomez, Gordon, Walcott, and Richie and Kean. Potentially similar to mine then, other than the goalkeeper. I think. In fact, I think it's actually the same as mine, other than the goalkeeper. Eugene says hi John, see you for a watch along tomorrow night. There you go. Luke says Danny 6 PM on Amazon Prime, of course. Reece says are we all meeting for a pint after the coronavirus? We'll need one, mate. We'll need one. Jeff says I'd like to see that too, Mike, but Benny has the plague, I think. Only explanation I could think of. I don't know why he's not in the squad. I really don't. Sonny says good team, Mike. I'd like to see them play together. Philip says Carlo obviously doesn't like him. Steve says good job, Cam. Great channel. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Robbie says at this point I assume Benny is dueling on the ball, trying to hump it in training to not get past the starters. He mustn't be turning up to training, to be honest with you, because for me, even a Benny Binningham who just turns up is better than a Tom Davis at the moment. William says they would have Cam on CEP. They are worried they won't get a word in edgeways. Sorry, but I'm in the live comments now. FC there. James says I would have Dennis Adina in there instead of Gomez and Sigurdsson, a double but younger. maybe. Shabba says, same here, Cam. I've just got the navy top and shorts too. They look great, mind you. It didn't cost me. It did cost me £59.95. Like, yeah, like I said, I bought the home top and the navy and pink shorts and top. I'll be wearing them tomorrow, so you'll see them in the instant match reaction and the player ratings and stuff. I really, really like them. It's not cheap, but it's good gear, isn't it? It's really, really good gear. William says, Benny got the ball last training session and they couldn't get it off him until he had chewed it off the patches. Then Sidibe gave him a sock. Luke says the players have to take this as a pre-season. I think it was Michael Kean who said this is an opportunity for players to show they deserve to be at the club. It is an opportunity, but whereas turning up in a pre-season game, they might be a little bit lackadaisical. We'll get our asses handed to us tomorrow if we turn up like that. And James says, oh well, we will keep Kenny. I think he's been garbage in Germany, 1 or 2 good games. Well, there you go. So yeah, listen, just to summarise, it's going to be difficult tomorrow. It's going to be really, really difficult. I'm not looking forward to the game, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. Like I said, we'll have the instant match reaction and the player ratings directly after the game, so don't forget to join us for that one. Game review will be on Tuesday night, 5:15 PM, of course. From an Everton point of view, it's just an opportunity for these players to turn up, prove that they deserve to be at this football club, and actually show some fight, show some bollocks, show some togetherness. Chris Wilder's Sheffield United side tomorrow are going to turn up and are going to want to fight and are going to want to bounce back after that disappointing defeat, and it is imperative that Everton can stand up with them. I'm not saying that we're going to be better than them, because for me, I think their players are better than ours, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. But we need to at least have the effort. We need to at least have the energy. We need to at least have the togetherness. Or I can see it being another very, very tough 90 minutes of football for all of us Evertonians tomorrow afternoon. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's live stream. If you have enjoyed, please do hit that like button. It does only take a second. If you're new to the stream, don't forget to subscribe as well. Like I said before, a massive, massive thank you for 2,000 subscribers. It means a massive amount to me. We're flying. The channel's flying at the moment, and I really do appreciate it. We'll be back with the instant match reaction and player ratings tomorrow, directly after the game, and then of course the live game review on Tuesday night. For everybody asking about transfers and other news, we're going to be sitting down on Wednesday, 5:15. We're going to be talking about Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. We're going to be talking about players in, players out. We're going to be talking about a general Everton news update as well, because I am aware that there's been a lot of content based around the games and reviews and previews and instant match reactions, so we'll be doing a little bit more sort of sitting down and just talking general Everton news on Wednesday. Big thanks to everybody for watching. Massive thanks to everybody for getting involved in the live comments. Really do appreciate it. It means a massive amount to me. Wimmy says take care, guys. Thank you very much. You too. Yeah. We can only hope, can't we? We can only hope that Everton somehow turn up and somehow get something out of tomorrow's game. Am I confident? No, but let's just hope we turn up. Sonny says, you'd think that if your career was on the line, you would put up a fight and a good performance on the pitch to try and save your job. You'd think, mate, you'd think, but let's wait and see. Jeff says, latest wear me. You can just see about the toffees and hope we get the 3 points tomorrow. I hope so, mate. And Ananda says, all the best. Continue to stay safe. Thank you very much, you too. And Luke says, see you, lads. See you later. Thanks very much, everybody, for watching. Please hit the like button if you have enjoyed. Share the stream as well. Let's get as many people watching as possible. And yeah, let's just hope that we can get a positive result tomorrow. Thank you very much for watching. And I'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues.